Thank you, Governor, and good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm grateful to all of the elected leaders here, the community, business, and faith leaders that are joining us today. Many Chicagoans were shocked and appalled to see videos of heavily armed, masked federal agents in our streets yesterday. The reality is that this stunt has nothing to do with public safety. This is about politics, money, and power. The president is using his militarized force the exact way he intended to advance his political goals. He wants to militarize our cities, whether that's through ICE or through the National Guard or the United States Army or armed forces. He wants to provoke conflict so that he can use this as a pretext to send even more federal agents into our city. What we saw yesterday was an absolute disgrace. Families, visitors, everyday Chicagoans were out enjoying our city, and they were met with dozens of heavily armed federal agents aiming to strike fear in our communities. They targeted street vendors and construction workers, just trying to make an honest living. They made a little girl act as a translator as they took her family into custody. These are heartbreaking scenes that have nothing to do with making our city safer.
You know what the crazy part is? If Chicago and all these other liberal blue cities didn't have their sanctuary policies, which is where they will not work with the federal government on getting the criminals out of jails and enforcing immigration law, he wouldn't have ICE agents all over the city. The head of ICE, Tom Homan, or I don't know if he's the head of ICE, I believe he is, has already said that if these local governments would work with him, they wouldn't have agents. But these people are committed to their cause. So you get what you ask for. The government is still going to do its job. The federal government is still going to enforce the law. They told you they were going to do this. This is the same mayor who said that the police is a cancer and that enforcing police and laws it has not worked. And it must be eradicated because he doesn't want law enforcement in his city, whether that be through his police force or federal agents in general. There was an interview he did a few weeks back on MSNBC where he was repeatedly asked if 5,000 federal troops would help him with the city's crime, and he refused to answer the question. He kept saying, oh, no, that's not the solution. We've got to do housing. We've got to do all this other stuff. We've got to do this, and that. And the reporter, and I know his name, but I can't remember off the top of my head right now, kept saying, no, you're not hearing me. You're refusing to answer the question. Let's say you had all the stuff that you're asking for. Would having everything you want, plus an additional 5,000 officers, would that help? And he still refused to answer the question. But again, none of this would be happening if they just helped the federal government get the criminals that the federal government wants to get out of the jails. They're making the government's job harder for them. You know, immigration enforcement's job harder. Well, they're going to make his job harder. And that's how that worked. Trump told these people what he was going to do, and that he was going to enforce immigration law. So I don't understand why these people are particularly shocked about this.
My question to these masked, heavily armed individuals is simple. What could you possibly need an automatic weapon for?
Because there are a lot of criminals that are on the streets that you guys, thanks to your liberal incarceration policies, let them out even after they commit crimes. And they may hurt the ICE agents. It's already been ICE agents that have been hurt by illegal immigrants. There's already been ICE facilities shot at by illegal immigrants. So they need these weapons to protect themselves from the same criminals you guys refuse to incarcerate and hand over to the federal government to deport.
The only plausible explanation is that their aim is not to carry out their duties, but instead strike fear in our communities. If you are following the law, if you are in accordance with the Constitution, if you have a criminal warrant, then there is no reason to cover your face. This comes on the heels of the revelation.
You know, this is actually insane, because the reason ICE started covering their face isn't because they don't have a warrant, or isn't because what they're doing is illegal. It's because we have people on your side of the aisle who were doxing ICE agents and showing up at their homes and sending death threats to their families. And so their safeties were put at risk because you've done nothing but demonize ICE, when all they're doing is enforcing the immigration laws that have been on the books forever. This isn't new. The law is just being enforced, and you guys are mad. And so what do? What the left is known for doing best. Striking actual fear and threatening violence, and actually committing acts of violence, because a lot of them have attacked ICE officers. And that is the reason why they have to cover their faces and carry these weapons that you say, why do you need an automatic rifle? That is why. Because your side doesn't like to play fair. Your side likes to actually commit acts of terror against people who they deem a threat, even when those people are just doing their job.
That was reported on MSNBC that Tom Homan, the so-called border czar, accepted a $50,000 bribe from undercover FBI agents in exchange for lucrative detention center contracts. So let's call it what it is. Tom Homan sold out the American people for $50,000 in cash. And that's why I'm calling on the federal...
Wait. Tom Homan sold out the American people? Since when are illegal immigrants who have no ties to the United States, besides maybe having children here who are American by dint of the 13th Amendment, who have nationalities from other countries, since when are they American? They're not American people. What Americans are being rounded up and deported by ICE? None of them. So this is a bullshit argument from this bullshit mayor who's just been a bad faith actor his entire time. I can't believe that Chicago went from Lori Lightfoot, who was a piece of shit politician, to somebody worse. This guy has like a 16% approval rating. His own constituents don't like him. The Democrats just shut down the government because they want the Republicans to give them funding for health care for illegal immigrants. Can you believe that? But fuck the American people, is what these people are basically saying. Fuck the American people. We don't care about the American people. We want our stuff for our new voter base. We're going to flood the country. We're going to open the borders. We're going to open the gates. And we will create a voter base out of this. And, you know, people say that they want to give them amnesty, right? That's how they're going to turn them into their voter base. They want to give them an amnesty. I don't think that that's the plan. They don't mind keeping illegal immigrants illegals as an issue they can use around election time. The thing is that those illegal immigrants will have children who will then vote for those politicians on the Democratic side who are sympathetic to their parents being illegal. That's how I think they're doing it. Not that they want to give the illegal immigrants papers, or they want to make them legal, because then they lose a voting issue. They're going to lose that voting issue. But those same illegal immigrants will have kids that are considered American citizens who will one day grow up and vote for the Democratic politicians who are sympathetic to their cause, who will then not fix the issue anyways, but what the fuck do they care? Because all the Democrats ever cared about was power. But that's all I got for this video, guys. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me know. And if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. and share this video with your friends. If you have anything you want me to react to, link is in the description box below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.